Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Real Sports Updates here, back again with another video. So we just got done with this Rams and Chargers preseason game, week one. It was good to actually watch some football again. It's been a while. It's been 6 months. Just like I said earlier in the earlier live stream, the last bit of football that us Charger fans watched was that week 18 loss against the Raiders, and that was not the game that we wanted. And obviously, everything happened over the offseason, so it was good to get back to football, even if it is preseason football. Now, this game was a pretty good game for a preseason game, even from start to finish. This was the best preseason game that I've watched so far, and not just because I'm a Charger fan, but this was the best preseason game that I've seen so far. So I watched the game from start to finish, and I took some notes, and I kind of want to touch on some things um, that were kind of obvious out there during this game. So without further ado, I'm gonna get to them. So the number one thing that stood out to me was Chris Rumph. Chris Rumph was dominating this game for the amount of time that he played. He was dominating. He was out there uh, throwing guys aside. He was giving the tight end, and I don't know. I don't think he was a starting tight end 86 for the Rams, but I think he's their number two tight end, Blanton. He was giving Blanton a hard time. He could not block him, and he was giving that left tackle, whoever that was, he was giving him a hard time as well too. He was pushing him back in the quarterback's lap. He was out there. He was dominating. He was getting off blocks in the run game. He was really, really, really impressive to me. Just for the little bit of the amount of time that he played, Chris Rumph was he's that guy, and you can tell, just like the video that I made about him last month. You can tell that he's been in the weight room. You can tell that his body is developing. He's still a young guy too, so he's still going to grow into his body. But his athleticism, um, his hands, he's got a long wingspan, so he was able to engage them blockers and throw them off, get to guys. He was very, very impressive to me. He stood out like crazy. I think he's gonna have a really, really good season. If he plays like that, it's gonna be a very tough season for whoever, whatever offense it is that the Chargers are playing. He is going to dominate. He's gonna have some really, really good games. He's gonna have some really good plays. He's gonna have some sacks, some forced fumbles. He's gonna get in the run game. I love the way that he set the edge. I think that's something that the defense, Brandon Staley, the defensive staff, I think that's something that they have been working on, because from both sides, when Rumph was in there, I can't remember who the other guy was in there, but the Rams tried to get that little stretch play going, and both defensive ends were setting the edge extremely well. That's something that I talked about, that Khalil Mack he's the best in the league at doing that. As far as defensive end goes, especially the stand-up defensive end, Khalil Mack is the best at setting the edge. So it looks like that has been a point of emphasis, and all of the guys are mimicking that. They're all setting the edge that really, really well, and that was something that really hurt the Chargers last year, was letting running backs get out on the edge, right? Letting them get out on the edge and either just going down the sideline, gaining a lot of yards, or cutting back, making moves. If you set the edge, you funnel everything down into the middle of the field where you want the running back to go, right? Where you have the most guys there to meet him, and where you can stop him for losses, 1 yard gains, short 2 yard gains. That's where you can do your damage as far as stopping the run. So to me, it looked like they have really been working on that in camp, and I think that's obviously going to carry on into the regular season. Bosa and Mack are going to be outstanding at that. So that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to. Chris Rumph was dominant, very, very dominant. I love what he did tonight, and I want him to keep it up. So that was the number one thing that I took away from that. The other thing that I took away from the Chargers, this defense, Brandon Staley, Tom Telesco, with all of the moves, everything that we've talked about over the offseason, it looks like this defense, Brandon Staley wants a defense that is big up front and fast on the back end. That's what it looks like to me. And to me, that is the best way. That is the best way to have success in this modern NFL. There was a time where you needed a lot of big guys up front, right? You needed a lot of big guys up front. You needed your linebackers to be big to come up and stop the run. That is not the game anymore. The game has to be being big up front, having linebackers who are big enough to come up and, obviously give you that great run support, but still being able to drop back and cover, right? Especially in zone, being able to not necessarily, shut down running backs, but have linebackers who are able to stay with running backs. And it looks to me that's what Brandon Staley wants to build: big up front, fast on the back end, and very fast on the back end, especially in the secondary. That's what this defense is going to be, and that's the number one thing that I'm excited about when it comes to this defense. Fast, aggressive. Big, aggressive up front, fast, being able to recover, and being ball hawks on the back end. That defense, this is going to come together very well. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take, but once the regular season starts, hoping everybody is healthy, this is going to come together very well. The Chargers are going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league because this works. This works. What they do up front as far as stopping the run, what the linebackers do in the passing game as well too. This is going to work. This is definitely going to work. Now, I know there was backups and stuff out there, but just the way that the defense is set up, the way that this defense is built, this is going to work. This is definitely going to work. It's going to be scary hours in the AFC West for everybody else. That's all I got to say about that. That's really all I got to say about that. Now, the other thing that I came away with, the Josh Kelly thing. I talked about that earlier. Josh Kelly has, been, not so great these past couple of seasons. I didn't see anything from him tonight. He didn't get to play all that much. He had a couple of carries, right? A couple of catches. I didn't see anything from Josh Kelly that I didn't see in the past couple of years. Now, I'm not going to be down on him because of that, because he didn't play all that much, but I wasn't all that impressed by Josh Kelly. I just didn't really see. I mean, he looked like he was maybe running harder, and that's possibly what everybody is talking about as far as his improvement. He looks like he's just running harder, but he's still not, as far as vision goes, as far as moves to break tackles and get away and all. He's still really, he didn't have that to me. He didn't really look like he had that to me. So that's one thing. Now, juxtaposed to Isaiah Spiller. I don't know if you guys watched the whole game, the entire game. If you've seen the third quarter, especially after halftime, what the Chargers came out and did, they gave Isaiah Spiller a lot of work. Notice Isaiah Spiller's vision. His vision is really, really great. Like this is great. This is like Pro Bowl running back vision that Isaiah Spiller has. The way that he is able to set up blocks is impressive. That is extremely impressive. When the draft was going on and, the Chargers announced the draft pick, I started watching some of his tape. This was the exact same thing that he was doing in college. This is very, very impressive. Again, I know it's preseason game number 1, but this is the type of stuff that is going to put the Chargers over the edge as far as offense goes. This is really, really going to take a lot of pressure off of Justin Herbert, right? And this is just assuming that everybody stays healthy, right? Everybody stays healthy, knock on wood. Everybody up front stays healthy. This is going to put a lot of pressure on other defenses when you face the Chargers, right? We already know what they can do on the outside. This is really, really going to be a very, very exciting year. Zion with Spiller looked good as hell today. Yes, he did. It's impressive. It really is impressive. There are guys. Sometimes they're just running backs who understand the position, who understand setting up blocks, right? Not just running through the line as fast as you can. That's what Josh Kelly was doing. Josh Kelly gets the ball, runs through the open hole as fast as he can, and somebody darts in and takes him down. Right now, you could get a 5 to 6 yard gain out of that. Every now and then, yeah, that's fine. But there are going to be times where those holes are going to close up very fast. Somebody's going to meet you head to head, and you're not going to get anything, right? Especially on crucial 3rd and 4th downs, right? We know the Chargers are going to go for it on 4th down. Maybe not as much as they did last year, but you're going to have to be able to set up blocks, be able to break tackles, right? And be able to finish runs. And by finishing runs, I mean falling forward. This is what Isaiah Spiller was doing tonight. All of his runs, he was falling forward. He was finishing them. He was falling forward. And he was setting up blocks. And that's the one thing that he does extremely well. He sets up blocks all the way from center all the way outside to the wide receivers and tight ends. He sets up blocks. He manipulates, sets the block up, and then he's able to get free for another 4 to 5 yards. Very, very impressive for a running back straight out of college to do that. This is, a la Zeke Elliott, right? His rookie season coming in with the Cowboys, being able to set up blocks, being able to understand the position, being able to understand that you are out there to gain as many yards as you can, right? You're not out there to just go and just hit and just, collide with linebackers. Set them up, get them off you, right? Let your linemen come in and do the heavy lifting for you. Set them up, let them wipe people out, and you go right behind them and gain yards. That's what Isaiah Spiller does. He's a natural at this. He hasn't been in the building very long, right? He just got drafted in April. It's only been 4 months. He's a natural at this. He didn't just learn this in 4 months. He is a natural. Go back and look at his college tape. He did the exact same thing against the Alabamas in the SEC in that conference. He did the exact same Alabamas and South Carolinas. A lot of guys who are playing in the NFL. He did that against those type of defenses. So he is going to be able to do this all season long. So that was very, very impressive. I'm highly impressed with him, and I can't wait to see more. Definitely can't wait to see more. And Zion, you are 100% right. So, okay, another thing. So let's talk about a negative here. The DBs need to, and I don't want to put too much on it, but Dean Leonard, he did not look good tonight, right? The Rams really picked on him. Now, I don't know if he was nervous. I don't know if he was too juiced or too, I don't know. Maybe he's just too pumped up, whatever. Maybe he just had to chill out. But he did not look good tonight, and they really took advantage of his weakness. Now, I don't know if you guys watched the broadcast. I watched the Rams broadcast because the Charger broadcast, something was going on with my antenna, so I wasn't able to watch the Charger broadcast. But Andrew Whitworth pointed something out that, a lot of these DBs who come straight in from college, they don't. Now, technically, there is a no face guarding rule in college, right? But that rule gets interpreted differently by different conference officials, right? SEC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12, whatever. It's not called across the board. It is called across the board in the NFL, right? So if Dean Leonard is going to be a part of this team, if Ja'Sir Taylor is going to be a part of this team, these guys are going to have to learn how to play NFL coverage. And the crazy part about it is that Dean Leonard was really not in bad position too often. He was in good position, but trusting your instincts is one of the things as a DB that's very hard to do, right? Because you don't want to be the guy who gets beat for the long touchdown. So if the ball is coming towards you, it's natural to start panicking or, he's in good position. All he had to do was turn his head for a lot of this, and he just didn't do it. So he got called for a lot of flags. He got beat a lot. Now I don't think there's too much to put on it. I just don't think he is I don't think he's ready to be playing yet. I think he's a special. If he does make this team, I think he's a special teamer until he is able to kind of get his feet under him. He looked like he was overwhelmed today, and he just wasn't relaxed. He's a better player than this. He was a better player at Ole Miss than this, but he seems like he was a little fried today. Same thing with JT Woods as well too. That play where they ended up scoring a touchdown, where JT Woods came down and tackled Dean Leonard instead of the Rams receiver. That was weird. I've never seen a play like that ever happen before. That was kind of crazy, but it was a little comical. But these guys were a little bit wired, and I think they need to calm down, and maybe they had to get this one out of their system. I'm counting on them to be a lot better next week in the preseason game next week, but this is something that they're going to have to address, right? They're going to have to be a lot better because, I just did the video not too long ago about the Chargers potentially trading Michael Davis. Now, I don't feel so great about that now. I really don't. I don't feel so great about that now because I am not at this point right now, I'm not confident in one of the rookies coming in and being able to play Michael Davis's spot at a replaceable level. I'm just not. I'm not there yet, and I'm sure these guys are going to come along, but they need some work. They need some seasoning, and they got to get their feet up underneath them. The young DBs, the other DBs, we know who are. We kind of know now the guys who are going to get cut. I mean, we kind of knew it before, but as far as undrafted free agents, is something I talked about during my live earlier. I was looking to see what undrafted free agents stood out. And to me, there wasn't too many guys who really stood out to me. the running backs, Leedy Brown, Kevin Marks, they really didn't stand out to me. I think Kevin Marks? He ran a nice Texas route right in the middle of the field, and he ended up dropping the ball. Right, the ball went right through his hands. So I think, again, if you're an undrafted free agent, you have less margin for error than a guy who was drafted, fourth or fifth round. Like, you have to come out, you have to make those plays, you have to impress, you have to do your job, and you have to make sure that you do the little things. So I wasn't really all that impressed by any of the undrafted free agents, but there's going to be another preseason game, so they'll get another opportunity. It's just that it really wasn't that. I wasn't that all impressed by any of these guys. So that's another thing that is there. The undrafted free agents, if any of these guys want to make the team, they're going to have to really impress. And just being good, just being average in these preseason games is not going to cut it, because there's a lot of talent already on this roster. A lot of talent. We've already went over it. I beat this horse so many times. I beat the dead horse so many times about the talent on the roster. If you are an undrafted free agent and you have plans, you have dreams, you have aspirations of making this roster, you need to stand out. You got to be locked in. You got to be focused. You got to study. You got to know exactly what to do. You got to ask questions. You have to be able to prove yourself at some point, right? And just doing it in practice isn't going to be enough. You got to flash in one of these games. You got to be able to flash at least one of the games. You got to flash, to be able to justify all of the good things that's being said about you in practice. You got to flash in one of these games. So if you're an undrafted free agent, be focused when you come in and play in these preseason games. They're not just preseason. They're not just fun games, whatever. These are opportunities for you to go out there and make the roster, right? Hopefully make a roster. If not, best case scenario, be on the practice squad. But that's what these games are for. So guys got to flash. If you're undrafted free agent, you got to flash. It's not just good at, you can't just be a guy out there just running around. You got to flash. You got to flash. Especially if you don't make the team, you want, your next opportunity. You want another GM to see you on tape flashing. You want another coach to see you on tape flashing. If you're not going to make this Charger team, you want to be able to get a job somewhere in the NFL, and you need to put good stuff on tape. So dropping passes, missing blocks, all of that type of stuff, that's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it in the NFL. It is what it is, but you can't just do the good things in practice. You got to put good stuff on tape, because that's what the GMs, that's what the other coaches are going to be looking at when it comes to, signing players, bringing players in for workouts on Tuesdays and stuff like that. You got to put that work in, and you got to put some good stuff on tape. So undrafted free agents, I wasn't really all that impressed with them tonight. Now, I think this game here is, although this is a preseason game, I think this was a very valuable preseason game for the Chargers, because as far as defense goes, this was a very good tune-up for the running quarterbacks that the Chargers are going to face on their roster. On their schedule this coming season. Now, the quarterback for the Rams, Bryce Perkins, he's their third quarterback. He's a talented guy. I remember watching him in college. He came out of UVA. He started at Arizona State, actually, so he was in the Pac-12, which I'm a USC fan. So, but I remember him transferring to UVA, and he got that team to a ACC championship game against Clemson. So he was a pretty good college player. He's gotten better since he's been in the NFL, but he obviously runs the ball at this point much better than he throws it. So I think this was a good tune-up. And, if the Chargers are really going to have success, right, against a Russell Wilson, right, twice a year, obviously Patrick Mahomes, this was a good tune-up, because this defense is going to be stout at the point of attack, right? And I think this is probably going to be one of the top 5 defenses in the league, the Chargers defense. It's going to be good against the run. They're going to be good against the pass. But I think this starts to, get the wheels turning in Brandon Staley's mind about how to defend some of these running quarterbacks, right? How to defend a Russell Wilson, how to defend a Mahomes, how to defend a Trey Lance when the Chargers play the Niners, how to defend some of these quarterbacks who are, runners and feel comfortable outside of the pocket. So I think this is one of the things that really helps the entire team, not just individual players, but it helps the entire team. And if you guys notice, the Chargers made a huge adjustment, right? They made a huge adjustment, particularly I think it was after halftime. They started sending the defensive ends way upfield to try to outflank the quarterback, and they did a pretty good job on several instances of that, right? Because first half, Bryce Perkins was kind of getting out of the pocket, kind of running around, and he was outflanking some of the ends, especially the ends that were crashing down. He was outflanking the linebackers who were chasing him to the sideline, so he was able to kind of break free and get loose. The adjustments Staley made, send those ends upfield, right? Straight upfield, right? So you're not going towards the quarterback. You're just going straight upfield. So you're not rolling out to your right. You're not rolling out. You're not throwing the ball to your right. You're going to have to reverse field and hope for the best. And that's what Staley was doing on both ends. And that's why they kind of stifled Bryce Perkins, to begin with in the third quarter. That was a huge adjustment. So I think that kind of got the wheels going in Staley's mind. I think you can probably look back. Once the Chargers start, with the regular season and all that stuff, you can look back at a game like this and say, this is, it was a simple fix. Obviously, Bryce Perkins is not a Russell Wilson. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not a starting quarterback in this league, but he does have athletic talent at the quarterback position, right? He's fast. He's elusive. He can pretty much beat you with his legs if you let him. So I think that was a very interesting thing that Brandon Staley did. Just make that simple adjustment. And I'm going to be looking for that in the regular season. That's going to be a huge thing because there's a lot of teams who do not adjust to that very well. Especially if you have big guys up front like the Chargers are going to have. You're going to have three guys up front, 300-pound guys up front on the defensive line, right? And you're going to have Bosa and Max standing up as the outside linebackers. So that is going to be crucial for, those types of game plans, right? When you come across the athletic quarterbacks who can beat you from, outside of the pocket, keeping these guys in the pocket, collapsing the pocket and keeping them in there. So I thought that was a very interesting and very needed adjustment that Staley made. So looking forward to that in the regular season. Aside from that, like I said, I already talked about the DBs getting roasted. I think the run defense in the first half, was it looked improved, but that was one of the things that I am not going to really get excited about until the regular season comes. It looks like, as far as the defense goes, just the base defense, it looks like Staley has made some adjustments. It doesn't look like the Chargers really played this type of defense last year. I just don't. Something about it looks different. I have to look on tape. Staley does run the 3-4, the 3-4 defense. Is that Vic Fangio defense? It just didn't look the same last year. I think one of the ends. I think Kyler Fackrell was in like I think he was like in a 7 technique or something like that. But the ends are wide now. They came out wide, like in a very wide stance. So it looked at the alignment looked a little bit. I have to look and see. Definitely research that. But it looked a little different, and I'm pretty sure it is different because now you have bookends on the corner. You have Bosa, you have Mac. Last year you had Joey Bosa and you had Fackrell on the end. So I think he moved the end out a little bit. Like I said, I have to check and see, but it looked different. The defensive alignment looked different. So I was very excited about that because this defensive alignment looks similar to Patriots, right? Any Super Bowl winning Patriot team. It looked similar to that. It looked similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? The Super Bowl winning team, Pittsburgh. It looks similar to that. It looked more similar to that than the defense did last year. So I'm sure there was a little adjustment made, but I'll have to look and see, kind of get into it a little detail. But it did look different, and I'm excited about that as well too. But aside from that, man, it was just good to watch a football game. It's been a very long time. Been what, 6 months, 7 months. So it was good to watch this game. Um, the Chargers, they do have some issues to address. Uh, the last thing I'm gonna end on, Easton Stick needs, if he is not the number two quarterback by the end of the preseason, I'm gonna be really upset because Easton Stick, his game resembles Justin Herbert way more than Chase Daniels does. Um, Chase Daniel was out there just making crap up like he kind of does. Like he's kind of just winging it. Easton Stick, when he came into the game, especially on this last 2 minute drive in the fourth quarter, right? Even though the Chargers didn't score, Michael Vandy ended up dropping the ball, and the Rams player, whoever it was, the number 41, he capitalized on it, and he, it was an interception, ended the game. Right, credit to him. But Easton Stick drove this team down the field. He looked really good. Especially when he got his feet set in the pocket, he was delivering some darts, some really nice throws, very tight spirals. He was able to get out of the pocket, create out of the pocket, but in a controlled manner, right? Not that he's just making stuff up, but he's out of the pocket, you know, able to run, use his legs, right? Run for first downs, but also looking downfield, trying to get the ball downfield as well, too. That was one of the things that I was impressed with. He's getting the ball downfield. Even Chase Daniel in the first half. Um, Seems like the Chargers are going to play a little more downfield this season. Now, if they do that, I think that's going to be very exciting. It's going to be a very exciting brand of football. But if they're able to do that and couple that with a strong run game, it's going to be a very good season. But I like Easton Stick. I like Easton Stick. He's gotten better since he came into the league. He looks very calm. He looks like he understands this offense now. He didn't just memorize it, but he understands this offense now. And some of the reads that he was making, especially right now in the fourth quarter, were really, really good. Like I said, this guy should be the backup quarterback. There's no reason why Easton Stick should not finish this preseason as the backup quarterback. He looks very, very good, and I hope the Chargers can come to a long-term agreement with him as well too. I want them to come to a long-term agreement with him as a backup quarterback to Justin Herbert, because I just don't think Chase Daniel is the guy. I think he's just washed up. He's washed up. He might be a good guy. I'm sure he's a good guy to all extents, but he's much past his prime, much past his playing time. So I think the Chargers need to go ahead and make that move right now. I wouldn't even be upset if they converted Chase Daniel's contract into a coaching contract and just carry two quarterbacks for this season, right? Herbert and Easton Stick. I would not be mad at that at all. But Easton Stick can play. He can play. And like I said, if the Chargers are not going to re-sign Easton Stick, if they're not going to make him the number two behind Justin Herbert, then trade him. Cleveland I bet Cleveland would be willing to take Easton Stick on with the Deshaun Watson situation, with his suspension coming up. Nobody knows how long it's going to be, how many games it's going to be. I'm sure the Cleveland Browns would be willing to trade some pretty good draft compensation for Easton Stick, because Easton Stick can play. He can play. And, he's comfortable in this offense. He is able to throw the ball really well. He's able to run too, but he is very calculated about his runs. He's not taking on linebackers. He seems like he knows who he is as a player now. So I'm very, very, very impressed with Easton Stick. This is year 4 for him, I think, now. So he's really coming into his own. And, like I said, if the Chargers are not going to do any of those things, then trade him and let him go compete somewhere else, because he can compete for a starting quarterback position somewhere in this league. So, I think Easton Stick should be the number 2 quarterback. And that's pretty much where I want to leave it now. But it was good. It was good to watch some football. Very good to watch some football. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the game. Hopefully you guys took away, some other stuff from the game as well too. Let me know in the comments what you took away from this game. I'm curious to see. There was a lot. There's kind of a lot going on. The linebacking position is another position too that I'm not sure about. I made the Roquan Smith video. I said the Chargers probably shouldn't trade for him, but I kind of feel different now. I really like Reader. Troy Reader played really well, but how much of that how much of that is him knowing the Rams offense versus him, just playing, very well, because he just came from the Rams. They're running the same type of stuff, so he recognizes all of this stuff. So, how much of it is just his recognition of Sean McVay's offense? We don't know, but we'll see going forward. But that's another position that might need to be addressed here pretty soon. As far as right tackle goes, Pipkins, Storm Norton were both in. I didn't see any bad stuff from them, so that's definitely a good sign. They weren't getting whooped, but the Rams are not. They're not elite on the edge, at least anymore, since Von Miller signed somewhere else in free agency, signed with the Bills. So they don't really have edge guys that are dominant. Their starters are not dominant, so definitely their backup guys are not dominant. So it was good for them to get live reps, live action reps. But I'm not going to put too much on this just because I know the Rams are not elite. At that position, they're elite. In the middle, Aaron Donald, Ashawn Robinson, but they are not elite on the edge, not by any stretch, especially without Von Miller. So, I've seen some good stuff tonight from the offensive line. Offensive line in general played pretty well. But yeah, man, that's pretty much where I'm gonna leave it here tonight. Good to get back to football. Hopefully hopefully the players can learn some stuff from tonight. Watch some tape, get better. Correct some of the mistakes. Get out on the practice field and really work on some things that they need to work on. Hone some of the things they need to hone, and just get busy and get to another week and get through another preseason game relatively healthy as well too. So pretty much where I'm gonna leave it at tonight, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you guys probably on Monday. Probably gonna take tomorrow off, kick it with the family a little bit, and see you guys on Monday. So I'll be back for more. Probably make another video about Derwin James. That contract is kind of it's just getting close now. So probably be back with another video about that. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this live stream. I will see you later.